Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about home price changes, how home prices change during a recession. And so there's this thing going around that, well, the recession, the home prices fall. That it always happens that way, right? So what we did is we went and found this chart. It was what home prices changed during the last 6 recessions. I'm going to put the chart up. We're going to talk about it. Okay. So this is the last 6 recessions, and actually it doesn't include that we had a little recession 2020 because of COVID. The home prices went up there too. So this is how home prices changed during the recession. This is all the last recessions over the last 45 years, and if you look, they went up every one except for 2008-10, the Great Financial Crisis.
Right.
But it actually, home prices caused that, like the market collapse caused that recession.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because that's the comments that we're going to get. Oh, but in a recession, people lose their jobs and they get foreclosed. They get foreclosed when you lose your job.
So, okay, well, if that's the case, where do they live? Because people still need to live somewhere. And especially right now, your mortgage payment is probably still less than a rent payment would be. You've got a great interest rate on that mortgage. You have equity in that house, and you're going to get another job. Look, I mean, unemployment is at its lowest rate historically. There are jobs out there. I'm not deaf to the part where, yes, I see that there are layoffs out there. I do see that. I'm very aware of that. But I'm also aware that unemployment is below 5%, which means that these people are able to find other jobs relatively quickly. And so those mortgage payments will keep getting made. Okay, so
let's talk about that really quick. The current unemployment rate is literally the lowest it's ever been. It's like 3.6%.
Right.
It's the lowest that they've ever recorded it. Okay, I think part of the problem is the word recession scares people because they talk about it. But if you ask the average person, what does a recession mean? And all it means is that we measure every quarter. We measure goods and services produced is a measure of how much the economy outputs, and it's measured. We used to call it, well, it's GDP, gross domestic product, right? Okay, we used to call it gross national product, but we added net exports and things like that. So it measures the whole economy, the production of it. Now, here's the thing. Let's say that in year 1 we produced 130. Whether that's trillion or billion or whatever. We're just going to throw on making up a number, 130. And then we produce 132, and then 134, and then 136. So you can see the economy's growing at like 1.5–2% a year, right? Or a quarter maybe. And then we produce 138. And then we produce 137 and 136. So it fell 2 quarters in a row. Okay, well, that's considered a recession.
Right.
Now, the 136 is still more than the 131 that we produced 2 years ago. So the economy's better than it was 2 years ago. It's not worse. It's not like recession means collapse. It just means that we had 2 down quarters in a row. So the economy could shrink a little and then climb. Like we had that, we have this all the time where the economy shrinks in a quarter and then goes up a little. And we didn't technically go into a recession even though we fell one quarter. And another thing too is if we have a quarter where we really overproduce and we produce a super high amount of goods and services and then we produce less for 2 quarters, we're in recession all of a sudden. But even though that might be the production, like this, last quarter was the 3rd or 4th highest quarter we have ever produced in the history of the country, right? In the whole history, 230 years, is the 3rd or 4th highest ever. But because it was a little less than the 4th quarter of last year, oh my God, it's a recession. So recession, I think the problem is people get upset about a recession when they hear the term, and they overjudge what's actually happening in the economy. Because most people don't lose their jobs in a recession. Right? Most people are going to get through this recession without their company firing half the employees.
Right. Look, I mean, the word recession is clickbait at this point.
Okay. Right.
And that's really what's going on. The more people talk about it, the more people are looking for it, and the more they're going to find it. As far as the economy overall is doing great. I mean, people are traveling, people have jobs, they're making money. Yes. Inflation is a concern. It's a concern for everyone. And we do see the layoffs. You see layoffs, 80 people there, 100 people there, and that sort of thing. But when you're looking at the overall body of the workforce, these are not significant numbers. And we still have really low unemployment, which means these people are able to find jobs in other places. The economy has changed a lot. Part of the reason for this recession is not only systemic things such as supply and labor, but we're still kind of dealing with the tail end of all the chaos that happened because of the shutdowns and that sort of thing. It takes a while to get things moving. There are still countries that aren't fully open. And we do have a global economy, so we are intertwined with other countries. So it's a lot more complicated than just our own economy.
Right. Energy costs because of what's going on in Ukraine, and there's things we can't control. We have Boeing, who should have shipped, hundreds of airplanes in the last 6 months that has had production issues.
Right.
So, and that has effects for other companies. It has effects for airlines. It has effect for suppliers. Same thing in the housing market, right?
And to your point, Boeing is a large part of that GDP because these are high dollar items. So when Boeing has a hiccup, that really impacts GDP more than, some restaurant closing or something like that. I mean, this is a big employer, big dollar as far as what they produce.
Right. The other sort of thing that I hear anecdotally people talk about, people on the channel that are criticizing us say, well, when everyone loses their jobs and they get foreclosed, we actually have a couple videos lined up. We have all this data that shows foreclosures are at the lowest ever. It was the second lowest quarter ever for total foreclosures ever. Least number ever. So there are no this wave of foreclosures nationally, they're literally not there.
Right. I mean, do we have people who have not been making payments? Yes, but we always do.
Yeah.
This is not a new thing. People's life circumstances change, whatever, but this always happens. The thing that's different this time around is that because we've had a lot of rapid price appreciation, a lot of these people have equity in the homes, so they are able to sell the home and not get foreclosed on. If they do get foreclosed on, most of the time it is by choice, not by necessity.
Yeah, if you have $200,000 equity because you bought your house 2 years ago and you just lost your job in a recession, which is very unlikely, most people maybe 1 or 2%, you're still not, it doesn't mean you have to sell the house. Most people actually, let me go find a different job, but my payment's $1,400 a month and I'm not giving up my house because I've got all this equity in it. I'm not going to just throw it all away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we wanted to share this with you. This is, that home prices do not all, literally, we've talked about this before. There was a home crash, the only one that's ever happened, excluding the Great Depression, where the value of everything declined, and it caused the Great Financial Crisis. It was the first thing that happened. The recession, remember, didn't happen for 2 years later. When home prices were falling, 2006 and 2007, we didn't go into recession until 2008. So that's why the decline wasn't very much. But this recession, probably could end here in the third or fourth quarter. And home prices right now aren't going down. We have some market updates we're getting ready to do. We've looked at the data, the home prices are still going up.
Right. So, as far as the recession is concerned, we don't anticipate that the economy is going to pick up pace anytime soon because there are a lot of things going on between the Fed still increasing rates. But, to that point, the market has already kind of baked all that in because the Fed has told everybody what they're going to do for the rest of the year. So as far as mortgage interest rates are concerned, that's kind of already baked in. And we're seeing some fluctuations in the mortgage rates, including last week they actually went down.
Yeah,
so that's something to consider, that this is still supporting the economy. This is still supporting home prices. There's really no impending shift in prices in the near future.
The market is going to the housing market's going to crash. People have been saying this since at least 2018, if not every year, probably even before that. The market's going to crash. This year it's going to happen. It's now is the time it's going to happen. Literally in 2020 it was going to happen, and last year it was going to happen. This year it's going to happen. But look, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We're just not seeing it. We don't see all the things you would have to have happen. We don't have we have the lowest unemployment ever. Interest rates are still historically super low. Let's see what else. There's people have more equity than they've ever had, and there's no inventory.
Right.
There's literally all of the things you would need, and you literally need all of them to happen at once. That's the market moves in waves with housing, and when you get all these things to happen at once, that causes that. But they're actually all happening still the opposite. So you actually don't have the things you need, and you need like 4 things, and you have none of them.
Right. So what we do have is we have that real estate is seasonal, right? So because real estate is seasonal, remember we peak probably sometime in April, and then April, May is when we peak, and then we start kind of that slowdown that kind of bottoms out in the winter, and then we climb back out as we climb out of winter. This is what real estate always does. So the idea that, we're seeing longer times on the market, or we're seeing more price reductions, or that sort of thing, that's a natural thing every year. This is not a new thing. This is not an indication of the market crashing. This is just an indication of the natural cycle of the market. So you have to differentiate between the natural cycle of the market and a big movement. We're not seeing a big movement. What we are seeing is a natural cycle of the market.
If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and you can watch all the rest of our videos. If you're watching this for the first time and you made it to the end, congratulations. The chart, we use a lot of charts. We like to use data. We don't just make stuff up. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that talk about real estate where they don't actually show any data. They just talk, and it's all hyperbole and all overzealous kind of opinion, and they get a lot of people because people want to hear opinions they agree with. So we're just asking you, have an open mind, look at the data. You can say what you want, but I've been doing these videos for over 13 years, and I can tell you how many times I've had people come on saying the market's going to crash next year, and it's the comments from 6 years ago, right? And you don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Real Estate Agent.
So if you have different data, please leave us a comment down below and put the link to the data, because we want to know if there's something we missed. Please, let us know, because we are very open to learning, as we hope that you are. And
don't leave us a link to somebody's YouTube video, because that's not data. Okay?
No, we are looking for independent data, please.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.